Most of us wear modern clothing that is manufactured using synthetic materials. In today's world, almost every article of clothing includes a blend of synthetic plastic fibers and natural fibers like cotton. The use of synthetic polymers in clothing and textiles is polluting the environment with microplastics and will soon affect every living thing on Earth. Polyethylene terephthalate, or PET, is one of the most common materials found in manufactured textiles today, found in about 60% of clothing articles. It's used in clothing due to its price, durability, and materialistic versatility. VPET, virgin polyester, is a newly synthesized plastic, derived from petroleum that is processed and woven along with cotton and natural materials into clothing that we buy. Naturally, there are multiple types of pollution associated with the manufacturing of polymers such as PET, but there are also pollution risks with the textiles themselves. Microplastics are polluting our entire planet. As the name suggests, they are microscopic, invisible to the human eye, so it's nearly impossible to identify them in daily life. Textiles are composed of millions of microfibers woven together to form fabric, and this is where natural and synthetic fibers are mixed. Because microfibers are so small, they can disconnect from the fabric, which is where the problem occurs, and tiny plastic microfibers become pollutants. Obviously, these become pollutants if clothing is discarded altogether, through littering or landfills, but they can also shed particles during their product life cycles. Most notably, they shed in our day-to-day lives, as well as when we wash our clothes. Washing machines are not equipped with filters fine enough to catch the tiny microfibers, so the microfibers end up in sewage sludge, which is used as fertilizer in certain areas. Additionally, some microfibers will make it past even the wastewater treatment filters and end up in natural bodies of water. In addition to water, particles shed off garments naturally, so as we wear clothes, microfibers are shedding into the atmosphere. Francesca DeFalco and her team conducted a study to quantify the amount of polyester particles released to the environment, into water, and the atmosphere in daily life. They calculated that one person would release about 298 million polyester microfibers through laundering and 1.03 billion polyester microfibers to the atmosphere by wearing garments. When taking into consideration the amount of people in the world, almost 8 billion, this number becomes incredibly large. 2.384 quintillion particles a year into water, and 8.24 quintillion particles into the atmosphere. DeFalco's study also estimated the total mass of all microfibers released from washing textiles, and the percentage of synthetic microfibers from both pollution processes. 80% of the particles released into wastewater were natural microfibers, leaving 20% of microfiber pollution as microplastics. When calculated out, every kilogram of textiles washed sheds 120 milligrams of microplastics. In the air, 97% of the shedded microfibers were natural, leaving just 3 as microplastics. Additionally, DeFalco proved that washing clothes with more water increases the amount of microfibers shedded and causes more pollution. Microplastic pollution isn't just an issue in industrial or populated areas. They are polluting the entire planet. According to Muthu, there were traces of microplastics found in Antarctica, showing that nowhere is safe from PET pollution. Additionally, studies have shown that microplastic pollution has been found in glaciers, soil, and sewage sludge, and that 4.01 million kilograms of microplastics will be entering the terrestrial environment every year through sewage sludges. Much like every other kind of pollution, there are always negative effects that we need to be cautious of. One of the largest concerns is the food chain, because it will affect all creatures involved. According to Muthu, microplastics have been found in fish, mussels, lungworms, and microorganisms in soil. The ingestion of longer microfibers has resulted in a higher death rate in water lilies and negative reproductive effects on microorganisms. These microplastics are negatively impacting our environment by limiting and killing vital organisms. As larger predators consume smaller organisms, the microplastics inside them get transferred up the food chain and eventually become severe enough to harm wildlife or end up in our food. Microfibers are both natural and synthetic. The natural microfibers, such as cotton, are biodegradable, but plastic microfibers are not. In fact, polyester takes up to 200 years to decompose. So regardless of if you throw away an old shirt or if microplastics are polluting sewage sludge, these plastics will not decompose and stay in the earth to be ingested by plants, fish, and microorganisms. In addition to wildlife and the earth, microplastics have been polluting our food, including crops, honey, beer, and milk. So how does this affect human health? It's no secret that we are ingesting microfibers through almost every way that we interact with the world. We inhale them from the air, drink them in water, eat them in our food, and they stick to our bodies. However, the complete effects of microplastics in our bodies is not completely known. The most significant known impact of microplastics is the degradation of lung cell reproduction based on the small amounts that are currently in our bodies. Altogether, the amount of microplastics from microfiber pollution currently in the environment and our bodies is not enough to cause significant health problems or kill wildlife. However, as the textile industry continues to use these materials, the concentration will only increase, spreading across our planet and making the effects of polyester ingestion more noticeable and severe. There are a few possible mitigation strategies to the problem of textile shedding creating microfiber pollution. I am not a professional, so I don't have the expertise to verify if these are viable. VPET can be recycled after its first use into rPET. The used VPET can be broken down into rPET both mechanically by shredding and melting it or chemically. This won't help the issue of microfiber pollution, but it does mitigate the problem of plastic and microplastic pollution by getting more use out of the material before it is discarded. PES woven filament was tested by DeFalco and proved to be the least polluting type of fabric in comparison to the other fabric weaving, due to its twisted knitted structure rather than untwisted. Logically, the more compact textile lost less microfibers in comparison to the softer fabrics. As discussed earlier, washing machine filters are not fine enough to capture microfibers, which then get processed into fertilizer from the sewage sludge at a wastewater treatment facility. This is most likely a difficult problem because of the price of finer filters that would then change the price of washing machines. The use of polyester in clothing and textiles has had an effect on the entire planet. Microfibers shed off clothing during washing and everyday use, and these microscopic fibers pollute the environment. Present in the ground, water, and atmosphere, polyester microfibers affect living things everywhere. It's important that we solve this problem because soon they may negatively impact our health as well as the health of every living organism.